Bible Buzz. It's time for Bible Buzz.
Hi there, welcome to our second how-to training video. How to use Bible Buds in this lockdown, in this whole pandemic that we've been having in 2020. My name's Anna, and today's session we are finding out how to connect with families. Because after all, it's for the families that we do what we do, isn't it? We want to share and declare God's love and connect with families. So how would we do that in this lockdown time and in this pandemic? Well, today's training is going to look slightly different to last time. I've actually already interviewed one of my friends to find out what lockdown has looked like for them and their child. So we're going to start by watching a little bit of the interview and focusing on what life looked like for my friend before this pandemic, before COVID-19.
Hi, Anya.
Hi, Anna.
First of all, tell me a bit about yourself, about your family.
Okay. I live in Coventry, and I'm married to Phil, and we've got one daughter who is 2.5. Good memory. And we have another baby on the way, which is due in January.
Yeah. Cool. So, what kind of activities did your daughter get up to at a toddler group?
Yeah. So there's often a lot of free play. One of the ones we went to had really big, like a big collection of like ride-on toys, which is really fun. We don't really have many of those at home.
Can always rely on a ride-on to make children
Exactly.
happy.
Yeah. One group had a different craft every week, or like some sort of like sensory play.
That's cool.
And then both had like singing time at the end. And then one had kind of like a prayer for that group, which everyone kind of said together at the end. Yeah, and there was snacks as well. They were pretty great, to be honest. Yeah. One of the newer groups had like people making cakes for it. That was great.
So how about you, Anya? What did you get up to when you went to the toddler groups?
I went with people I knew, which definitely was a benefit for me because it meant I could like just kind of spend time with them and like chat with them about things that had been going on in my week. So I guess kind of developing those relationships deeper, but also like getting to know new people.
Oh, great.
And it was nice to have a cup of tea made for you.
So why did you like going to these toddler groups? You mentioned a bit about it, but tell me if there's anything else. Why did you like going?
So I guess the main reasons I enjoyed it were seeing other people and giving my daughter a chance to interact with other children, and also just having a focus for our day and kind of getting out of the house and getting moving was always I found that a really good focus for the day as well.
So I wonder how many of you can relate to what Anya said in that part of the interview. Perhaps you know families that have really been missing your toddler group. So how do we respond to that? Well, I want to go through a jigsaw with you. Bear with me, it will make sense. Throughout the rest of this training, I'm going to connect some different pieces of jigsaw together, different ways that you can connect with families over lockdown, over this pandemic. So my first jigsaw piece for how you can connect with families is sharing home ideas. It might be that you've got some play ideas from your group that you haven't done but could be adapted to play in the home. Or maybe you've just got some great ideas that you think, oh, this would be a great idea for our families to have fun at home using. I know a lot of families, a lot of parents and carers who are just bored or have come to the end of their creative juices and they don't know what else to do with their children during lockdown. So having some home ideas from you would be a really great way to support your families and connect with them too. You might be thinking, yeah, that sounds great, sharing home ideas with families, great, but I don't have the time to do that. I can't do that, I haven't got the time. Well, this is where Bible Buzz is great because every session has some home ideas along with it that relate to whatever the theme is for that session, whatever the calendar event going on that week is, and whatever the Bible theme is for the week. So it means that you've got it all handed to you on a plate, and it's a great easy way to just interwove God into home life. So there you go. The first jigsaw piece on our How to Connect with Families jigsaw is share some home ideas. Okay, so my second jigsaw piece to add to our How to Connect with Families jigsaw is go out and about. Anya said she has really valued getting outside and meeting up with people, sometimes just bumping into people she knows from toddler group, and how much of a blessing that's been. So it might be that actually you can put in some time within your day to go out and just see if you bump into anybody. I remember a few years ago I got told something that has stuck with me ever since, and that is all about being available. I was challenged to have slots in my week where I carved it out of my diary, made sure I didn't put anything in that time for that each week, purely so that I've got time to go out and just be available, just see what happens. It could be that God actually has a holy moment, a divine moment that he wants for you to connect with someone else. That's happened to me, and it could happen to you. And you might bump into families from your group and connect with them, chat with them, listen to them, share love with them. But you might be thinking, Anna, that's great, but I lack confidence talking to my families. I'm not sure, what would I say? What would you talk about? Well, again, this is where Bible Buds is really great, because every session has some conversation starters for you guys to use with families. Obviously, at the moment, every week is different in terms of what we're allowed and what we're not allowed to do. So it's best to check whatever the guidance is for your current location at this current time. So there you go. Our second How to Connect with Families jigsaw piece is go out and about. Okay, so the third How to Connect with Families jigsaw piece is having a snack time. Just like Anya said, snack time was a real favourite part of her toddler group time. It's a bit like dinner times at home. They can be a really key part of a day. Obviously, we're in lockdown, in a pandemic, so having a snack time all together face to face probably isn't going to happen. But who says you can't do a snack time over Zoom or another video call? And actually, it could be a really fun way for parents and carers to have that connection point at the same time as doing something like eating, rather than having this intense video call with other people where you're not doing anything apart from looking at each other and looking at yourself on the screen. It could be that you do that over a video call, but if you're allowed in your local area to go outside, then it could be that you go outside and have a snack with one or two other people in your toddler group. That's another way of connecting with families. And to make things even more fun, in each of our Bible Buds sessions we have some snack ideas, some different foods and different activities you can do to make your snack time even more fun. And these ideas are based on the calendar event for the week and the Bible theme for the week. And obviously it revolves around food. Now, these ideas might seem like a bit of fun, but it's actually an opportunity to encounter God in a holistic way. So there you go. The third way to connect with families is having a snack time. Okay, we're going to go back to my interview with Anya. Now we're going to explore what she's done during lockdown, during this pandemic. So let's check this out.
So obviously now 2020 has turned out completely different to how anyone could have ever imagined, and has included, unfortunately, stopping toddler groups running during lockdown. How have you found this year? How have you found lockdown and not being able to do the things that you enjoy, like getting out of the house and seeing people so much?
It's definitely been a challenge. The first lockdown in particular, I found very difficult with nurseries being closed and yeah, obviously all groups stopping, and then things like even playgrounds being closed. That made it really difficult. Uh, Especially that transition into kind of that way of life was particularly hard, and trying to work from home with a 2-year-old was just not easy at all. But yeah, I think actually I coped a lot better than I thought I was going to. I definitely been positives to kind of learning to simplify life and learning just to enjoy just playing at home and playing with the things that we've already got, making use of like our garden and walks around our neighborhood. So that's been really positive actually. And this lockdown is significantly easier because obviously under fives don't count towards the one-on-one meeting, and we can still go to playgrounds. So in quite a lot of ways, our life has retained a lot of normality, which is
That's good.
much easier to cope with.
That's good. So does that mean you haven't really missed going to toddler groups?
I definitely have, especially because my daughter at the beginning would ask to go. She'd only recently just kind of started talking, and she knew the names of the groups, and she would ask about going to them. And that was really hard trying to explain to her. I think now she understands a bit more about things being closed.
Crazy times. So how have you found connecting with these toddler groups that you've been going to during lockdown?
Quite difficult, to be honest. One of them is quite a big group, so they didn't kind of really have like lots of connection points beforehand anyway. So I kind of haven't stayed connected with any of that really. The other one at the start was doing kind of Zoom chats to start with, which was nice, and kind of more regular sort of checking up on each other through like social media. But that's definitely kind of like drifted off. And I totally understand. And because everyone's doing the same thing at being at playgrounds, you do actually bump into quite a lot of people anyway. So that's nice.
How did you find the Zoom chats?
They were tricky because obviously it was sort of at the beginning of lockdown, so people weren't as great at using Zoom and muting themselves. And obviously children make a lot of noise and don't know just to stop and listen to other people. I did really like them. It was just nice to see familiar faces and kind of connect a bit. And then it weren't always really long. In place of nothing, they were still nice.
Did your daughter join in with that?
Yeah. I think she gets quite confused about when she can be seen on camera and when she can't. Because obviously kind of with the mixture of Facebook Lives and YouTube Live and then Zoom and stuff, it's quite hard for her to distinguish which one we're doing. And so sometimes she gets a bit nervous or restrained, but yeah, she really likes that sort of thing, so it was good for her.
That's cool. So we've touched on the fact that you've connected with your toddler groups through Zoom.
Yeah.
Has that been the main way that you've connected?
Yeah, with the toddler group as a whole, yeah. I think yes, with individuals, then it's been more like through WhatsApp or social media.
I also know you because you're my friend, and I know that you are a Christian and you love God and you have a faith. How easy have you found it to be missional with your non-Christian friends?
I think pretty difficult. A lot of the friends that I have that are not Christian, like just haven't been. I just haven't. There hasn't been the opportunity to kind of connect. I think you have more spontaneous connection with people at playgrounds. People are willing to chat because they don't get to chat to anybody. I think as well, I struggle talking to new people sometimes. So definitely having something that I could just talk about more easily would be like definitely a bonus.
Okay, so there you go. Anya's given a few ideas of what her lockdown has looked like with her daughter. And it might be that you have done similar things to what Anya has explained. It might be that you've taken a few ideas from that. I want to just expand on a couple of things that we talked about. So the fourth jigsaw piece for connecting with families is to provide some online activities. It's not as good as being in person, but actually whilst we're in this strange season, it's really good to have something out there online for your families to connect to. for your children to see your faces, to know that you're still there, to hear your voices. We're going to find out more about how to run a live stream event in our third training video. And also in our fourth video, we're going to explore more about how to engage families through Bible stories and songs and activities like that. But for now, I just wanted to share that another way to connect with families is through online activities. The fifth jigsaw piece for how to connect with families is to be evangelistic, to share God's mission, to declare his love with non-Christians, with unchurched families. Anya spoke very honestly about how sometimes she finds that quite difficult to do, and I hold my hand up and say I do too sometimes. And it might feel even harder without having your normal group to connect with families, to share God's love with them. But I want to challenge you and say, actually, guys, you can still evangelise, you can still share and declare God's love with the families that you know. It just looks a bit different. In Bible Buds, every session has some mission opportunities to help Christian families continue sharing God's love and declaring God's love to families outside of the normal toddler group session, which is perfect for the time we're in at the moment. For example, if it's to do with Advent, it could be that you, a Christian family, invites another family that aren't Christian along for a walk to see the Christmas lights. And whilst they're walking, there might be opportunity to share a bit of your faith or explain why Christmas means more to you than just the fancy lights or the Christmas trees. Speaking of walking and talking, every week in my other job, we visit every child and every family in their homes each week. So everyone on our register gets a visit. And we do that because we want to connect with them. We knock on the door. Sometimes when it wasn't COVID, we would go in and sit down and sometimes have a cup of tea and a chat with the families. At the moment, we're obviously being careful, wearing masks and not going inside, standing at a distance and just having a quick chat. But it's a way to connect with families, to be there to listen to them, to engage in their week to week. And I found that actually doing that week in, week out, although it might feel like a bit time consuming, it really helps with the connection. It helps to feel like we are trusted and that they know who we are. They know we love them and we are there for them. So I recommend doing it, seeing if you can carve out half an hour, even 2 hours of your week just to go and see how people are doing. So there you go, that is our next jigsaw piece of how to connect with families, evangelise, share and declare God's love. Okay, enough of me now. We're going to go back to Anya. I've asked her a little bit about what her hopes are for post-lockdown. So back to Anya.
So this pandemic isn't going to go away quickly, unfortunately. What can help you stay connected in the future so that you're not isolated?
I mean, it would be nice to have more kind of like content that could be viewed weekly and that you didn't have to watch at a certain time. Because quite often our plans are quite like changeable. So I guess the flexibility of that. I mean, I feel well supported, so I wouldn't probably value like a WhatsApp group checking up on people. But I guess if you didn't have that, then that is a useful thing to kind of have a general, are you okay? But with no expectation that you have to reply. Actually, if everything got really hard, there are people from toddler group that actually I could just like go to.
That's cool. So how would you improve a Zoom toddler group session?
I'd probably just have an element that was just led and then maybe breaking out into like meeting rooms or smaller groups to kind of catch up a bit, because I just think it's not really possible when there's when there's quite a lot of you on a Zoom call, especially when you have children, and especially that doesn't feel like a very conducive like environment to share honestly what's happening.
Would you welcome a team member dropping by, obviously on the doorstep, not coming in or anything, but would you ever appreciate that?
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I like talking to people, so I think it would be fine.
What about, like, would you ever find it helpful having a craft pack given to you at home?
Yes, completely. Like I've got a lot better at coming up with craft ideas as lockdown has carried on and the pandemic has continued. But to have some that would just be like, here's the stuff you need. There you go. Often getting the resources is just more tricky because you don't want to make unnecessary trips to shops for something like split pins or a paper plate. Yeah, so definitely a craft pack would be very, very welcome and very nice. Especially related to God in some way. That'd be great.
Oh, thank you so much, Anya. I really appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Bye-bye.
Our fifth jigsaw piece of how to connect with families during lockdown is to make a rhythm. To have the same day and time each week when you communicate with your families, whether that be over Zoom or Facebook or over a WhatsApp, whatever it is, but having some set times each week, the same time each week, having a rhythm so that families know and expect when they can speak with you and when they can connect. Now, like Anya, there might be some families that actually they're quite liking the flexibility at the moment, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have that same time each week, because it might be that families that can't watch it at the time it goes live can actually watch it any time that suits them in the future. So having a rhythm is really important to get it established, to get families knowing, it's this time of week, it's time to connect with my toddler group. Don't forget, you can also ask your families what time and day suits them best. You could put a poll on Facebook just to find out. So there you go. The sixth jigsaw for connecting with families is to make a rhythm. Okay, the seventh jigsaw piece for connecting with families during this pandemic is to get others involved. You don't have to do this by yourself. If you had a team helping you do your normal weekly toddler group, then speak with them, talk with them, see if they can get involved. It could be that you get your team to each have a few different families that they are going to connect with, so that you're not having to try and text every person in your toddler group. Share it out and give responsibility to different people in your group to text around. It could be that you do some acts of love and service and encourage your team to be creative in different ways that they can show love to their families that are on their list. If you haven't got a team to help you, it might be worth talking to your church leader and seeing if there are any volunteers in your congregation that could help you. Not necessarily to contact each family because they won't know them, but behind the scenes there might be things that they can do to help you so that you are free to connect with families. So don't do this on your own. Our seventh jigsaw for connecting with families is get others involved. Our eighth jigsaw piece for connecting with families during lockdown is make some crafts. Now, Anya mentioned it, and it's probably an obvious one. It's something that some of you are probably already doing, but it's worth mentioning. Make some crafts. It could be that you make some crafts on your video or on your live stream, and you tell parents in advance what props and what materials they will need to make the craft for their child. Or perhaps you've got time and capacity and a budget to make some craft packs and take them round to your different families. Again, this is where your team could help take them round, or volunteers from church can help make the craft packs up, as long as the guidelines say we're allowed to do that. If not, it could be that you send out some crafts digitally. In Bible Buds, we have craft instruction sheets for parents and carers so that they know what the craft is. So it could be that you send those out over email or messenger, and parents can see what the craft is, and if they want to, they can have a go at making it themselves. Now, each of the Bible Buds crafts are linked to the calendar event for the week and the Bible theme for the week, and they're provided are some craft chats, some ideas to talk with the children, some different questions to ask the children so that you can engage with the children and connect with them during this time as well. So there you go, jigsaw piece number 8 for how to connect with families is make some crafts. Okay, our final jigsaw piece for connecting with families is to pray. We finished with it last training session, I'll finish with it today. It's really important with everything going on that you pray. And as we pray, I believe that God is listening and God can connect us with our families. Our prayers are powerful, so don't forget to pray for your families, pray for opportunities to connect with them, and also get your teams praying as well, get your congregations praying, because your connections with non-Christian families is so vital, and it's really important that we pray that the enemy won't use this COVID time to create a gap. It could be that you do something similar to what I've done with my kids club team and our kids club families. I decided to give each team member some different families to pray for on our register, and then we might swap them around each half term. But I think it's a great way to not feel overwhelmed and think, oh, I've got to pray for every family, and it means that you are engaging your team and getting them to connect with God and connect with families too. And you might also feel like you can use this time to actually pray with families. It's worth asking if they'd like prayer. If they say no, then you haven't lost anything. If they say yes, then you've gained a lot, and you've got an honour and an amazing opportunity to talk to God with them. It might be that you're thinking, I don't know what I'd pray, but don't worry, because throughout every Bible Bud session there are lots of God chats, different opportunities to talk to God, and they're all linked to different parts of the session and to the Bible theme and to the calendar event happening. Okay, there you go, our jigsaw is complete, hooray! I hope you found today's session useful, and I really hope that it's got you energised to think about how you can connect with your families. Feel free to get in touch if you have any more questions. Next Wednesday, on the 2nd of December, we have got our next Bible Buds live event on Facebook, so feel free to invite your families along to have a bit of fun with me and my Bible buddies, especially as it will be Advent. And then the following week, on the 9th of December, on that Wednesday, we will be having our 3rd how-to training video, all about how to use Facebook Live, how to live stream. How do you do that? Well, I had to learn fairly recently, so it's fresh in my memory. So yeah, that will be on the 9th of December. Now, lastly, before I forget, let me just show you. As you're already aware, I've been talking a lot about Bible Buds and the Bible Buds resource and how you can use that in this lockdown time, in this pandemic. So here is book 2, which is what we're using at the moment for this half term. There are 6 books in total, 1 for every half term of the year. And the exciting thing is, there is a discount code going on at the moment for a limited time only. If you go to our website, go to our shop page and type in the discount BUD25, so BUD 25, you will get 25% off a Bible Buds book. So there you go, that is for a limited time only, but it's well worth it. I think it's a bargain in my opinion. So do feel free to go and have a look on our Bible Buds website. Have a great week, and I pray, God, that you would come and fill each person watching, get them excited about connecting with families, and I pray that you would help them connect with families in their community to share and declare your love. Amen. See you soon.
Goodbye, Bible bud.